in half in terms of some external force. These are all fictions and abstractions that are placed on the mindset and allow the politicians and these other fellows to twist the situation around. By living in the present, if you were in a debate with any individual, you can always bring them back to the circumstances that exist now. Someone comes on up and tells me that, hey, God says the Jews own this land. And I say, okay, in the present and reality in which I live, there ain't no God. I ain't never seen no God. I never had God come on down and kick my ass. If you've got this alien being, and you ask these people, well, where is your God? And they say, well, he's all over. And I say, well, is he on Mars? Oh, sure, he's on Mars. Oh, okay, so he's off-world. Well, no, he's here too. And I say, well, I don't see him here, so he's obviously absent now, and he's spending all of his time on Mars. And by the way, why the hell does God have balls anyway? What's God going to mate with? Who's he going to fuck? So, tell me that this space alien owns any part of the Mid-East and has the right to give it away, and show me the documentation that proves that. Show me proof of this. The self-referential book that you wrote, I can write my own book that's self-referential, that negates everything that you guys have said. And basically, that's what the world government of world citizens is. It is all of us writing our own books that negate the bullshit of the New World Order and saying that my documentation and my book is as valid as your book. Prove otherwise. And they haven't been able to. And every time they are faced with this, they cave. Now, they've tried to subsume the organization. This is clear. They've failed. The organization as a self-organizing collective is continuing and growing and will alter and flow, and as more and more humans join in, it will become more and more different and more expensive, and they will not be able to control this. And again, every time they run into, by they, I mean the powers that be within the western part of the planet, and actually any other part, look at how many governments have been confronted with this, and they've caved. Many times after putting Gary in jail. He was one of the first ones to do this. And this was actually my series of conclusions. I came to the absolute same conclusion that Gary did, that by creating my own series of documents and insisting that they were as valid as anybody else's document, and arguing that there is no authority on this planet that makes any document any more valid than any other document, and that if they can prove that there is an authority, then let them do so, and I'm willing to stand up and take the consequences of that. I got to that same set of conclusions, and then I go out and research, and lo and behold, he'd already done that for me, which makes it all ever so much easier, because I have officialdom in the sense of documentation that looks cool that I don't actually have to fabricate. And my sense of graphics is terrible anyway, so I'm sure that there's it's a lot better. Basically, we'll be doing a lot of debating over that kind of stuff over the next few weeks in various different radio shows. I don't think anything's going to be happening on the 21st of December. I actually think we've got until sometime in, according to our data, the Global Coastal Event and the loss of the data sets, the dropping out, the holes, the silence, really picks up sometime late February and ramps up in March, and then is pretty settled by May. So we could say that, well, the solar events or expulsions or whatever the hell we're going to get into will occur likely in that period. This would coincide with the farsight.org stuff as well. So I think that's it, really. Just wanted to address those two particular things there. There's just one other element here, and that was the level of I don't want to say comprehension, but the level of political savvy, if you will, personal political savvy required to use the World Government of World Citizens documentation for your own benefit against the powers that be is decreasing daily as more and more of us pile on this. So this truly is one of those things where the masses will make a difference. At some point there is going to be it'll have a PC-like effect or a phone effect, where there will be the early adopters. We've already had all of those. Now we're going to get into the visionaries first. We had the visionaries, Gary, and then his first followers there that adopted the idea of world government and his passports et al. And their passports et al. And then we've had the move from the visionaries into the early adopters, and we'll cross the chasm here. So the technology that is represented, the political technology, and I use the word political advisedly, that is represented by the world government of world citizens, will cross the chasm, and we will have a large enough collective that the status will change virtually overnight. And everybody will want to have their world government and ID just because they'll see that that's the thing. And it's not the lemming effect or any of that, but at some point you have to spread the benefit picture wide enough for people to get excited about it. The more people that get excited about it, the further that benefit picture spreads. And we get that crossing of the chasm there, the chasm, when the benefit picture has spread out far enough that people are reacting to it because they've heard it 2 and 3 times. So in many cases, you can look at the spread of Moore's laws and the spread of computing and technology through society in a slightly different way. I always like altering the perspective. In other words, open up your perspective to see that magnetic fields should never be stable, and it opens a different way of thinking. In this case, look at the spread of technology not as the technology itself or even the idea, but rather as the ripple going through the society of the number of times that people hear about something with a good benefit picture. So you'll find that the visionaries, for instance, they've got a real sharp mind, and they jump on these things real early because they can see the benefit picture even ahead of the item appearing. In other words, there's a lot of people that wrote science fiction ahead of the items that they were describing appearing in reality. And that would be it'd be an instance of these individuals. And so then you would have the other kinds of visionaries who read their stories and were prepared for that technology to arrive, instantly knew the benefit picture and adopted the technology because they'd been prepared ahead of its appearance in reality. Then you'll find that there's other individuals that have to hear about the benefits and have a certain level of inertia overcome. And they might have to hear about the benefits 2 or 3 times, and then they adopt it, and so on. And so you see once again, a ladder diagram or neural networks spread pattern appear as the number of times that people hear about the benefit pattern of a particular meme or technology before their inertia is overcome and they adopt. So look at how long it took some people to adopt computers, and then look at how some people got into it right away. Same thing with telephones or any technology, gaming, any of the music technologies, anything you can care to name. Now, what's interesting in our fractured world, where there's people that are video focused, other people that are audio focused, etc., is that you will get these neural network patterns that will cross these individual and collective areas of mental interest. So you'll find that some patterns will suddenly leap from the video world into the audio world, take that by storm, and go on to the kinetic world. So you may see a meme appear in video that goes through audio and into yoga, or vice versa. I mean, they appear and float around various different from various different perspectives, influencing each other. And so I suspect that that's what's occurring right at the moment. The reason that I suspect that this is occurring is because we have solid evidence of it, some of which I've put up on my site. If you go down into the middle column and look down far enough, you'll see this thing about this guy who discusses why the future is valuable. And that's a very incredible meme, seeing where it's coming from and where it's going through. And of course, we see a lot of the development, the fringe stuff, come out of music and the creative artists, who are, by the way, being hugely influenced by the Sololunius in a way that the sheeple is now reacting to more sluggishly and dully the artists had been reacting to years ago. And so here we see the artists now, some of the groups I've put on my site intermittently, that are exhibiting the language of revolution and everything that I'd been discussing a number of years back. It's now appearing in the mainstream, which is basically the internet. And we're seeing it in music and in gaming, and all these themes appear. And so the spread of the particular language and in its benefit picture follows particular neural network patterns, also known as ladder diagrams, which really mimics like the spread of disease through a population. And frequently the example cited is the spread of a disease through an orchard, how some trees remain untouched until very late in the process, and others succumb very early. And if we look at it a different way, that's also the same mechanism whereby the spread of information goes through society and alters and changes things. And so we see these patterns exist over and over and over again in all of universes, just these basically the same pattern, the same fractal pattern, interlaid on itself, made more complex, and shifted to a different area of focus. This is why I am able to say with some certitude that we've never seen a liquefaction of the mantle of the planet. By that I mean, as far as I'm able to determine, it's never occurred.